Hello and welcome to the Latvian Football Podcast. We are back and we are going to talk about what happened in Virsliga. The European season has been long and historic and very, very pleasant by and large to experience, but we do feel that we neglected the domestic championship and cup a little bit. So this is what we're going to do today. We are going to catch up on the Virsliga.
It's been a really exciting moment. Lots of informed teams, lots of battles at the bottom. The Riga teams are both out of 10 games, both quite informed, similar points. And then there's a big battle in the mid-table as well. And certainly a bit of a scrap for relegation, although it's not looking good for Jelgava.
No, even though they somewhat picked up their things since sacking Redko and appointing the new Ukrainian coach, former assistant manager, it's still yet to generate dramatically different results. And the table is looking, more or less set, I think, by this point.
Yeah, aspects. Daugavpils seem to be ditching a little bit and dropping
A
quite
little bit.
dramatically.
They're in a free fall.
They're in a free fall. Their form has been pretty awful. They managed to get a draw on the weekend, but other than that, they've lost their key striker, who was on loan anyway. He's gone to a Serbian club, which is a bit disappointing, but he lost his form. But yeah, Daugavpils have really dropped off, and I think that's partly down to what's happened in the transfer window as well, which we'll be discussing later.
Yeah, but for now, let's have a quick glance at the table. RFS are top with 2 games in hand. Those 2 games are against Daugavpils and against Auda. Then Riga FC are 1 point behind. And then that's pretty much the top 2 clubs that
But
will
yeah,
be competing for gold.
RFS do have 2 games in hand as well.
Yeah.
So, there's that aspect of big game in Valmiera, 13th of September. But you never know what can happen there. But RFS look like they're coasting at the moment. And I think, as I said, I think if you look at the past 10 games, RFS 26 points, Riga FC 26 points, goals scored, RFS have had 36, whereas Riga have had 34. And then the Riga FC have conceded 6, RFS have conceded 7. So just the 1 goal difference in the past 10 games. So that aspect of form is very interesting. Then you've got Auda, who have won all the last 10 games. And oh no, they haven't. They've won the last 6 games, but they are the third most informed team as well. And Valmiera on similar points in terms of the last 10 games as well, with both on 18. So there's a real battle there. Other last 10 game in form outlooks are Grobina and Liepaja, who have equally. Oh no, Grobina have got 13 points, Liepaja have had 10, and Meta 10. So there's a real sudden shift in if you look at the first half of the season and the second half.
Yeah, I mean, that is normally the case, especially first of 4 laps in the Virsliga always gives us some very interesting and unexpected results as games are played on artificial pitches. But then as the crazy calendar, kind of starts phasing out towards summer and teams fully transition to natural grass, these lower half of the table teams do well come into their own, I guess, in a negative sense, and then we have a table as we have. It's okay. It's not as crazy as last year with just RFS and Riga competing. It's a bit more competitive this year, I feel like, but at the end of the day, I think that's still the situation we're being
Yeah,
faced with.
I think it's been more competitive because there's been this battle for third and fourth, mid-table. Well, Valmiera, I think they'll walk away with third quite comfortably. I think mid-table, you've seen lots of chops and changes, and then in the relegation zone, Liepaja, who just literally turned from a caterpillar to a butterfly and transformed
Wow.
themselves. Well, butterfly, maybe a moth. I think butterflies.
Yeah, one of those cloth moths
One of
that.
the more
Yeah.
annoying sights.
No,
But
I mean
I
they
have
won
they
three in a row. So let's give
Yeah,
it to them. Yeah.
yeah. They're starting to transform themselves. Tuckham's weren't looking good, but they've managed to get a draw. Oh no, they won
They
in
won. They won.
they won. Yeah. So that was a big thing for them as well. They needed that.
Yeah. They didn't really help them win the next game, but yeah, they won. And that's good. Yeah, so RFS Riga top, Valmiera are third, as you said, comfortably. They are enough behind Riga to not really compete for silver or threaten gold, but also far enough from Auda in the fourth place to not have to worry about losing that. So it seems pretty sad that Valmiera will come away with bronze this season.
Yeah, Valmiera have got 54 points. Auda have got 37. I don't think there's enough games left for Auda to get third. So I think that's a foregone conclusion. Valmiera will finish third,
Yeah,
in my opinion. And they
yeah.
they kind of deserve it. They've been a good team this season. I'm just sad they didn't really challenge and get more results against the two Riga teams in the end. There's still time on that, but I think my biggest disappointment in the last few rounds is teams not standing up well enough to the Riga teams, and not even tactically thinking about how to maybe sit back or try something a bit different.
Well, I mean, such is the difference in quality between these two grands, local grands, and then everyone else. With Valmir, I agree. They deserve bronze if we look on the pitch performance, but I mean, it's still such a bitter aftertaste given all the off the pitch stuff that happened to them this season. So it's a little bit yes, but also maybe not great. But in any case. They are ahead of Auda. Auda is still competing with Daugavpils, I feel like, for that final European spot. At least if on paper, not on form. On
Yeah,
form,
and
Daugavpils is
there's
not in good place.
they're still in the cup as well. But just touching your point where you think that the quality of RFS and Riga is beyond the league, I don't necessarily agree. They've combined lost 5 games this season. Tuckham's, they beat Riga. RFS have been beaten twice by Valmiera. I don't believe it's a quality thing. I think it's a tactical issue more than anything. I think any team and any players that are really charged up and motivated with a manager really thinking through how they're going to play against the big teams can do it. And I think that teams aren't stepping up enough. And that's my big problem at the moment. I mean, I've just come from the weekend. Went to the Skontor, watched Riga FC Grobina. They had a good first 20, 30 minutes, but after that they fell apart, and I just thought they were tactically outclassed, and yeah, they could have done better.
Well, tactics, but also experience, fitness, individual skill and quality, as well as time that team has played together and had the opportunity to gel into something of a very well synchronized machine. RFS has all those things, not on maximum. Individually players maybe they're not the most skilled players in the league, but they have played together for a long time. They play pretty much the same system. They know each other. They have excellent training facilities, and all this adding up, like you can come out with the two teams against them and score a goal first, but eventually they're gonna squeeze it out of you. It's 90 minutes. It's a long time.
I like to think differently, and I believe, I mean, if you look at the Premier League, I think teams want to beat the champions. And I think these players, a lot of them they've come from European clubs, played, from a very young age. There's a lot of quality. They are professional individuals, and they've been playing football a long time. And they might not have the quality, but they've got, they've got the motivation, the desire to and the know-how to beat teams. So
Do you think the gap between, say, Manchester City and whoever is at the bottom of the Premier League bigger or smaller than the gap between RFS and, say, Jelgava, who are in number 10?
that's a good question, actually. I think I think
I think
Jelgava.
it's smaller because we know that the further
I
up
agree. I
you
think
go
it's
in
smaller.
football, the more it becomes a game of very much diminishing margins. And I think
Yeah.
Latvian league is still at a place where I mean, we have plenty of semi-professional teams in the Virsliga. A bottom place Premier League team is worth many times more than the entire league here. So
Yeah, there's that, and then you've got the age factor as well. And I think, if you look at the average age of the teams, I think RFS have got the experience. I think they're averaging between 26, 27 years old or something, whereas a large majority of the Versliga teams are very, very young. And I think the thing that we're seeing that is a stand through area of being competitive is the age and experience thing as much as anything. But that said, like, there are tactics where you can get teams to really sit deep in low blocks in midfield defense and just totally get behind the ball and not do anything for as long as possible. And with these teams have got pace as well in the Versliga. You've got teams that can do decent enough counter. I just like to see some, a bit more tactical thinking behind these teams. But going back to your Premier League question, I do believe that there's more of an equal balance, particularly in the lower, let's say, five teams, in terms of anything could happen.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, okay, that's a separate conversation, and I don't really disagree with you. I just think it's a bit more to it, and that you do need time, and these bottom half teams they renew a lot, whereas RFS, for example, doesn't. And then, but they also have the resources to
They've
afford
got the
that.
resources, and I think the other really, really unfair thing is the loaning system where RFS are loaning out a lot of players to other teams where the players are still training with RFS, and then of course they can't play against RFS as well. And you've seen this problem with Daugavpils. Daugavpils lost like probably most of the key attacking players with players being recalled. And then you've got the distance between Riga and Daugavpils where players have to take the train, just to play in the games and they don't train. And I think that's really affecting the competitive aspects of the league as well.
Yeah, no, I don't like this system. I don't like that they do this, that players only travel for pre-game trainings and match days.
Yeah,
I
I
was
think it'd
very
been
surprised to find out that that's how it works. I mean, but it's their players. They want to keep a close eye on them. They want them training in best conditions possible. That's their choice. But in any case,
it's their choice, but it'd be nice to see if the league could put some kind of like control and cap over that, in particular. And I think like the main thing that nobody wants ultimately is this to be a two-team league, like the Scottish League or something like that. Like we really want to see Valmera attempting to be able to win the league. Liepaja have got the infrastructure. They've got the ability to be, attempting to beat the Regan teams as well. There's no reason why this needs to be a two-team winning league. And there's little components like the loaning problem, the players training, and so on, which is how it's causing a bit of a problem in terms of why there's two teams leading at the moment, in my opinion.
I know what the reason might be, and I think his name is Thomas Purty, but we had a separate episode on that, so we'll not go into this. But anyway, so we have the top four: RFS, Riga, Valmiera, Auda. Daugavpils is hopefully will give Auda a run for their money. I still would love to see Daugavpils qualify for Conference League by taking the fourth place. Realistically, though, probably not. Then surprisingly, we have Grobinja, Tukums, Meta, Liepa, and Jelgava. And Liepaja have won last three. They're slowly looking like they're climbing out. But well, yeah, I mean that's
I
the
think
deal.
Leopold are going to be all right. I can't see them going down. I think they're five. They're starting to scrape results. I mean, they've had three wins in the past three games. they're 5 points clear now of relegation. I think Jelgava, you've got to feel sorry if you're a Jelgava, for Jelgava supporters. But then that said, Jelgava have, they've managed to get 4 points in 2 games as well. The fascinating thing about Liepaja, I went on transfer marked, and apparently Liepaja have let go of 23 players this season and signed 22. That I mean, yeah, that's a crazy. If you're looking from a company or business perspective, that is a crazy turnaround of employees.
So those numbers sound crazy, but another statistic that's even crazier, and I haven't looked up what's the latest number, but last time I checked, Liepaja were just a little bit under 50 players fielded this year.
Yeah, I mean, and the average age of these players
half a hundred players playing for Liepaja this year.
It's lucky they don't have a union or anything like that. You've got to feel sorry for these guys. Like, come and play for us 6 months in, 6 months out. But
lucky if you're 6 months.
Yeah, but
I remember the Georgian keeper. He played 3 games and he was out.
Yeah, it's harsh, but it's not nice. But they've managed to turn things around, and
it's 3 games, Frank.
Three games. I think they'll be all right if we look at Liepaja's fixtures. But anyway, we can look at their fixtures. But overall, I think Liepaja, the sporting director or whoever has been in charge of transfers has cost them a lot of money, and he's probably ruined or affected the lives of a lot of players as well, and affected their careers. So I hope somebody takes a little bit of responsibility for what's happened there, and it won't happen again.
Yeah, you need accountability to have responsibility, and there's no accountability there, not to anyone outside of the club anyway. But I just find it fascinating that we're talking about Liepaja not getting relegated and climbing out of the relegation playoff zone, whereas this time last year, this would have seemed like crazy talk.
Yeah, it would have been crazy. Well, they've got a big crunch game with Meta, their biggest league rivals, and then they're playing the powerhouses who are RFS on the 20th. So you never know. Liepaja might suddenly turn around and challenge RFS. That they might become a bit more. I might favour them more if they manage to get a result from RFS. But for now, they are certainly the black sheep of the league who've done a lot of sort of nasty things this season, let's say.
They're more like this stupid dog that wears a sheepskin and pretends to be a sheep, really, at this point.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like RFS have transcended in some way the league with their European track record. It almost doesn't feel like a team of this competition anymore. And it was similar during the Conference League run, and it did cost them a lot.
Yeah, that said, I watched Riga this weekend, and some of the football I've not seen, some of the quality of football and how they suddenly transformed in the second half, the passing game, the movement of the players. It was a real pleasure watching Riga in that second half. Like they looked like real Brazilian flair and South American flair a little bit as well. And Regja getting a hat trick as well. Like RFS have been really impressive, but Simo's turned things around a little bit, and there's quality occurring at that club as well.
Yeah, 2 top scorers in the league are both Riga FC strikers, Ramirez and Regja.
Yeah, it counts. It certainly counts. And Regja, he's not had an easy season either. So, hats off to him, as you say, for coming off the bench second half and completely, dominating the penalty area and showing teams how to score goals.
Yeah. Congratulations, Marco, and hopefully we'll see you scoring similar goals against top teams as well. It's a pattern.
Yeah, I guess that's a segment to the.
One exciting thing about Riga FC, though, is latest news, which has to do with a very exciting player who's been lighting up the left flank of Riga FC, Niang. He has been sold to Belgium for 1.5 million euros, which is a lot, but it's especially shocking because he was sold from Riga FC, who do not really care to sell players. They sold Aurelio in mid-season to Spain for 400,000 or something like that. But this is big, and it's well deserved. It's very talented, very exciting. He did amazing against Śląsk Wrocław in that game in Poland, and just genuinely happy to see him go. Not because me being an RFS supporter, but just good for you, good for the league. Very happy.
Yeah, he's been a good player this season. I've not seen many players in live football with such speed and pace, and it was good to see him on the weekend. And I think he's been a real treat this season. That said, I think it's a good bit of business. He's been quite injury prone. He hasn't played that many games this season. He started in the Super Cup, then he wasn't played that much
because of injury.
Yeah, because of injury, and then he started to find his form again. But I think Riga will be fine. I think they're going to finish probably second, unless some teams want to tactically sort themselves out and beat RFS. But they could still win the cup as well. But Riga have got enough depth to replace him.
Yeah. Dashkevich plays same position, also quick, Latvian young guy. Very good.
Yeah, and I think he's really suited for the current players that are in that squad as well.
Yeah, he just needs to sort out his crossing accuracy.
Yeah, but they seem to be adopting a bit more of a sort of short passing higher tempo pressing game at the moment. So we might see less crosses from him, but you never know.
They were practicing that in mid-season, and then kind of that went away a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. They still play in two competitions, Virsliga and Latvian Cup. RFS plays in Virsliga, Latvian Cup, and Europa League. So definitely an opportunity for Riga to catch up a little bit. But they did waste an opportunity to do that just now. We had the big Riga Derby recently at Skonto, big game, lots of people, again, almost fully sold out Skonto Stadium. We know people who traveled from England, from Estonia to watch the game. And it ended in a 0-0 draw. And that Riga should have taken that, not necessarily in terms of the flow of the game, but I mean, it's such a golden opportunity for them to catch up a little bit. And they did.
Yeah. It was a good 0-0 though. It wasn't quite a.
Oh, it was exciting. Yeah, that last second crossbar from Savarniaks, they could have lost it.
Yeah, they could have lost it, and I mean, it's kind of what you expect from it. It's a tight game, and as I think RFS, Riga FC played similar balls to how Aperol were playing as well. They were playing these nasty direct balls as well, which was quite interesting. And that's why I'm getting him, like Simo and his tactics. He thinks things through quite nicely.
Yeah, I like Simo. I think he'll go, sadly, and I don't really want that to happen, but no one's asking me, so we'll just.
I think they'll hold on to him. I think he's going to be all right. I think.
Have you?
I think he's showing his tactical capabilities more than anything.
I don't think Riga FC cares about tactical capabilities. They care to win the league, and it doesn't look good for Riga FC. And honestly, it's a bit surprising that he's still managing them.
Yeah, well, I go up and down, but I think he should stay, and it would be.
We vote that he stays, but it's not up to us.
Yeah.
Can you write a petition to Riga FC, please?
But they might win 2 cups this season. They might even win the league. Nothing's over. There's still time to be had there. RFS, they've got a big squad. They've got injury issues. They've got a lot of big games coming up. There might be fatigue kicking into RFS at some point, and it's going to be a really tough ending to this league. And I wouldn't quite write Riga FC off just yet, because they've got a lot of energy. they seem to be picking up momentum a little bit. They seem to have molded as a team a lot more. They have just lost Niang. Um, RFS have got to go away now. They're playing Valmiera in the next fixture. They've got some games that they might not have the freshest legs for, but we'll
Yeah,
see.
but also numbers, Frank. 8 games left. Riga FC are what, like 1 point behind actually, plus 2 games in hand, so potentially as many as 7 points to recover in 8 games.
Yeah.
I don't think the math adds up there.
No, no, no. I mean, yeah, RFS are leading by 1 point. They've got 2 games in hand. You're right. They've got to lose. RFS basically need to lose 3 games. They might drop, 3 points somewhere at some point.
And Riga needs to lose none. Or
Yeah.
even they need to win all, which they could do, but they could also not. We know what
Yeah,
happened
the
last
the
season.
other the interesting thing is that you've got a cup semi-final as well, where you've
Yeah,
got two Riga teams.
yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see.
Well,
I so hope RFS lose a couple of games and it's neck and neck at the end and similar to last season. But but to be fair, like RFS, watching them, particularly in the Europa Cup and so on, they've been Europa League rather. They've been a really impressive team, and their midfield, I think Panic and so on, you, they've they've had the ability to really hold dominate that midfield area a little bit, and they've been a good team to watch.
something that I see them do this season that I really missed in the previous few years is that they're actually displaying some very nice, quick passing, build-up football. And you would expect that from a team that's been together as long as they have, but for some reason that's not been on display nearly as much in the previous years. But it is now, and I love seeing those quick combinations with players moving, opening up, passing the ball, playing 1-2s. It's really really good.
Yeah, they're a good team to watch. I think they've got issues with their strikers a little bit.
Yeah,
Diamondes, he's injured. I'm not sure about the Nigerian chap. He doesn't seem to be hitting goals too much on target. Because of I forget his name.
also
Um,
Agua.
Osulang, yeah. He seemed to miss a lot against the Andorran team, even though they
Yeah,
did
yeah.
score a lot
Well,
as well.
as long as Yanis Ikonets is there, he'll put them all in. There's a bit of a gap now in the league. There's an international break that everyone has, and that brings with it a lot of excitement for us because Latvia has finally climbed out of the gutter that is League D into League C, which is, I think, the minimum level where we should be playing. And even, I think, got pretty lucky with the draw. It's not easy, but it's manageable.
It's not difficult. They should be beating these teams. I think the biggest challenge is against North Macedonia, who qualified for Euro 2020, and
Yeah.
that's 4 years ago. The manager Paolo Niclota has to pick up points. Otherwise, he needs to go in straight for a job review because
Yeah,
they've been really disappointing the national team since the new manager has come in.
I've been disappointing for longer than that, but hopefully not for much longer.
They've
So yeah,
been
it's
disappointing, but since the new managers come along, their results have got worse.
but play got better. So that they're better, they're more enjoyable to watch. They seem to show a lot more
But
kind of
I don't think it's
tactical
enjoyable to
aptitude.
watch losses and poor draws against really, lowly populated countries with national teams that have pretty poor reputations.
Uh, no one's gonna care for that if we qualify for Euro, whatever is the 2028.
So you think I should relax about the Nations League, not care about how the results go,
Yeah,
let
just enjoy, enjoy.
do his stuff, whether they lose or not, that's not important. We should wait until the qualifications come.
No, no, I think Nations League is good. and important, and definitely should be takeable. We are in the same group with North Macedonia, Armenia, and Faroe Islands. None of these are some kind of weak teams, but again, you said they're winnable, and we should be winning them. Individually, we have good squad. Actually, that is looking good. Players have now more experience. Many are in form. Gutkovskis is back from another knee injury and already scored in South Korea. Ulrikes is scoring for his new Greek club. And our best players, obviously.
The Latvian players abroad seem to be quite on form at the moment.
I mean, Tsiganix and Tobers in Switzerland just lighting things up. So our players are good. So
he
as
scored
long as
his
we
first
can,
goal last weekend.
his first goal. It was very good combination. A bit of a Swiss tiki-taka.
And Latvia have beaten Armenia, Latvia playing away they've beaten Armenia before, so
we've beaten them most of the times. I think I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think it's like 4 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss, or something in that ballpark.
Yeah. So I think high expectations. It would be good to see Latvia win 4 out of 4 of their games. But you've got 2 games in September, 2 games in October, 2 games in November. So yeah, there's a bit of a long, 3 months of internationals coming up.
Yeah. So exciting. That's the international break for us. Game in Armenia, and then a home fixture versus Faroe Islands, and we'll see how we get on. Hopefully, it won't be a close shave with any of them, and we'll come away without any unpleasant cuts.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking of close shaves, we're currently working with Manscaped, who have kindly provided us with a range of different shavers and so on. And we will be giving away one shaver to one of our listeners at some point. So for now, over the next 1 or 2 months, if you can tell us the closest shave you've seen this season in comments across all our platforms, we'll pick the best one.
Yeah, and you get your hands on this over €100 worth lawnmower, 5.0 Ultra. If you want to get your hands on one anyway, you are free to do so by going to manscaped.com, punching in the promo code LFP20 and getting 20% off plus free shipping.
But yeah, tell us what you think has been the closest shave this season. It might have even been a miss, anything like that. But leave your comments below or on social media with the hashtag close shave.
And in the Virsliga, it's the final lap. So things are heating up, and we can look forward to culminations. So do make sure to follow that international broadcasts via One Football app. Very easy, convenient, and accessible. And of course, the absolutely historical qualification of RFS to not Conference League, but Europa League, which is absolutely just, there's no words how little sense that makes on paper and just how absolutely magical it is in practice.
No, I think they deserve it, and I really, really hope games will be played in Latvia in -5 or whatever conditions in January to give RFS a really good home advantage. Like I think the colder the games, the bigger chance they have of collecting some points. So it's a sad thing that the footballing infrastructure here isn't quite up to the standards that allow teams to play in such. Well, we'll see what happens, but it's going to be a challenge whether they do play in Riga or not.
It seems like they will. So RFS will designate Daugava Stadium for their home games, which I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, that was a bit sad.
Many people hate the stadium with the burning passion.
It's the running track around it, and then there's no roof.
There's no roof. I think that's the main one. It's just a bit bizarre layout. I mean, it's not a football stadium, but to me, it reminds the experience of watching football in the US, for example, where you're sitting miles away, and it's more of an entertainment and eating and sipping soda kind of an experience rather than shouting at players to run quicker or stop diving. Things that us Europeans like to do at football games, but it's not tragic. It's also higher
Yeah,
capacity. It's 10.4 thousand seats,
yeah.
and from latest interviews, it seems that insofar as preparing grass for the 23rd January game versus Ajax, that should be doable. And that the biggest hurdle is, yes, indeed, absence of roof, and that people don't just freeze in the stands or get wet or whatever.
Yeah, so if you're visiting Latvia in any time, probably after October, just make sure you purchase some good thermals and understand the importance of layering up.
Yeah, because even if the weather will be kind to you, we do advise that you travel quite a bit. And if you don't know where to go, we're very happy to help via our friends at Brad Travel Publishing, who have provided our listeners with a few copies of their amazing travel guides. I'm very skeptical about travel guides as someone who is from Latvia, but I opened this and it's legit. It actually has the good spots. So if I were to recommend any travel guide, it would be this, which is what I'm doing.
I appreciate a good travel guide. I think this you can find some hidden gems, and the author's well versed in Latvia. He's taken a lot of time to research the book. Paul Brumel, who we have some signed books by as well, which we'll hopefully be doing a competition with in the future as well. But it's worth if you're visiting.
If you can't wait for the competition, they have provided our listeners with a promo code Latvia30, so Latvia30, that will give you a beautiful discount when purchasing one of these for yourself, which is absolutely something that you should do. It's legitimately a very, very, to me, surprisingly good guide.
And you can learn all about everything going on around the Daugava, Riga, or the Daugava Stadium and so forth. And if you want to escape further afield, then there's plenty of national parks and so on. You might even be able to go skiing when you come and watch RFS play as well.
Yeah, you might ski to the game depending on the weather.
I mean, cross-country skiing in this country is brilliant, and if you're a beginner skier, there's some very simple slopes to get you quickly into the key mechanics of learning how to ski.
Yeah, but we do recommend that you visit. Tickets, I think, will be sold out fairly quickly.
So yeah, only 10,000 tickets, so that's
10,000 tickets, 2.5 away share. That's going to be gone for all the teams that will be visiting, and then local tickets as well. I mean, these are big games: Ajax, Galatasaray, Anderlecht, and who's the fourth one coming?
The fourth one is, oh God, you've put me on the spot here. The Greek team.
Oh yes, PAOK.
PAOK.
So PAOK, Galatasaray, Anderlecht, and Ajax are going to be in Riga this autumn and winter. And
yeah, it's an interesting. I think it's an interesting business decision not opting to go to the Skonto. But I heard how much they were being charged, and also that they couldn't manage quite a few different areas of it. So it's a bit of a kick up the backside for their biggest rivals as well.
Well, I mean, Riga can stay at Skonto, as it's a Daugava is significantly higher capacity, and I mean, who's not gonna go to Ajax because they don't like the stadium? Come on, people like to whine. It's not a big deal,
Yeah, it's a stadium that's been redeveloped, and
it's a strategically mismanaged and misguided project, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, it's a bit of a pain to get to for me, but still in the center on the very edge.
It's not the most convenient spot, yeah, but that's as is life. You just get on with it. And nor is RFS's stadium, to be honest. LNK Parks isn't the
true. Although I do prefer it. So follow us on social media. We are on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Where else are we? I think those are the
TikTok,
four main
Instagram,
ones.
Twitter. YouTube, please subscribe to our YouTube channel because That's where lots of action happens as well. We're slowly starting to build TikTok, and our social media, Instagram is proving super popular, where our posts are getting a ridiculous amount of tens of thousands of views. So please do follow us, comment, support us as much as you can, and remember to tell us where you think the closest scrape has been this season.
Yeah, and enjoy Latvian football, and we'll see you there.